Hey guys, before we hop into your video, I wanted to tell you guys about my new partnership with BetterHelp. If you haven't heard of it, it's an online resource in which you can find your very own friendly local neighborhood therapist, no matter where you are in the world. You sign up, and within 24 hours, they match you with a licensed therapist that's right for you. And you can talk to your counselor every week via phone or video chat, and you also have the opportunity to text them in between sessions. As most of you guys know, I am also a licensed professional as well as a mental health advocate, and sometimes in these readings, very in depth topics come up that are very intricately related to mental health, and it's for that reason that I offer this resource to you guys. And if you know anyone that can benefit from them, or if you yourself can benefit from them, I suggest you take advantage of them. The information to sign up will be in the description box below, but let's go ahead and get into your reading. Hello, water signs, and by water signs, I mean Cancer and Scorpio. Welcome to your end of February into March love reading. I am Princess India. If you're new, if you're family, welcome back, my friend. So let's go ahead and jump right in to you guys' cards and see what is going on between you as well as a person of interest for the end of February going into March. Whoa. All right. First card out, we have the Strength card. Second card out, we have the Empress. So the first thing that I get is, oh God. Okay, that's too many cards at once. The first thing that I get from this, and this is ironic, it's paranoia. And I say paranoia because it's feeling as if one needs to guard against outside attack, or as if there's some danger or opposition or something along those lines, and that one has to state their claim, so to speak. That sounds very, aggressive and domineering. But there's some sort of perceived attack from an external force. But the thing that I'm seeing is, with the Empress in the reverse being right next to that, is that it's a projection. So this external enemy, let's just call it that, just so we could be very black and white about it to get the point out here. But it's a level of resistance, or it's like a stance one would be taking. A stance that one is taking against an opposition, to guard against this opposition. But the truth is that the opposition is coming from within, right? That's why I say paranoia, because it's a perceived attack or a perceived enemy that doesn't really exist. And this idea or state that one finds themselves in. And trust me, I'm as, kind of off kilter as you may be right now, because to say that this is a love reading, it's like, okay, but I'm just going with the energy signatures and hopefully this manifests into form. But it's coming from an inner place of not feeling, it's like an insecurity would be the simplest way that I would put it. It's not feeling abundant, it's not feeling fruitful, and it's projecting one's own inner limitations or lack, and it's projecting that onto an external force. But the way that this lack is being manifest, which is what I find intriguing, is as if one is being attacked by something, right? Then we have the Seven of Pentacles in the reverse, and that's usually my card for karmic-y partnerships, or partnerships that are of the karmic-y regime, so to speak. And then we have the King of Pentacles. So here's the deal. If I were to put this in a very tangible narrative, it would be very specific. But what this would look like is, say hypothetically, if there's a person, and I know the middle part that I'm seeing more or less in an internal sense may not resonate unless one is ready to embrace said truth. But it's more or less like fighting the wrong enemy, so to speak. This would be a situation where there's a person, right? And these cards, the first row that I'm putting out, would, in my intention, resonate with Cancers or Scorpios. However, if you're cross-watching, you may resonate here, you may resonate with the next line. So whichever sounds more like you, get in where you fit in. You know what I mean? But anywho, the thing that I would see here would be a person who, there's a battle that's going on in a relationship, right? So this would be something where if it's a male or a female, it doesn't matter either way. But let's just say that this is a guy, right? And it's a guy who is in love with a woman, right? And the woman that he's in love with is married to or in a relationship with someone else, right? And it could be the same thing if it's a female, whatever the case. But I'm just saying this illustratively. And this would be a person who would be blaming not the person that they're with, or even so the same, it could be if this is a person who's in a partnership, right? So we could look at it two ways. This could be a person that's, okay, that's, okay. So, all right, scratch the first scenario, we're going with the second one. Love how things just change and switch. So we'll talk about a woman who's married, right? This isn't the literal scenario. This is just me putting what I'm seeing energetically into tangible form so it doesn't sound like I'm speaking in riddles. But there's a woman who's married. Her husband has a side chick, right? Hypothetically, right? And she's blaming the side chick being so, she's a home wrecker and she's a seductress, she might even be a Jezebel, you know what I'm saying? And she just has these sultry, seductive ways where she's able to lull this man into doing things that he just somehow has no control over, you know what I mean? Like he's just helpless to his desires and things, right? So it's more or less the wife would be blaming not the husband's choice to cheat on her, right? But blaming the woman, if that's making sense. So the other woman, and again, this is hypothetical because this is just the energy signature that I'm seeing. So with the Strength card, that opposition that one feels that they need to guard against, right? The wife, hypothetically, is trying to fight against the opposition being the side chick, right? Because that's the enemy. And this is the enemy that's attacking her marriage, right? But the truth of the matter is that the enemy really doesn't exist because it's more or less a projection of how one would be feeling about themselves. Now that sounds crazy. It's like, how am I projecting me not feeling good about myself as the side chick, right? Well, it's manifesting as anger externally, which is, of course, a very dominating type of deal, But at the heart of it lies an insecurity. The insecurity is intricately related to the partnership or the marriage, right? Meaning the fear of losing this person, right? Why would one fear losing someone? Because there's some sense of sustenance or stability that one feels within this partnership, right? So it's a level of codependency, whether it's financially, it's emotionally, it doesn't matter what the ali is. It's just the fact that there's a level of dependence on the person, or one feels that they would be without the person. So now this creates, I love how this is going. Now this creates cognitive dissonance within the person. So, and this isn't a subconscious process I would be describing here, right? Of why it is that married women have a tendency to blame their side chicks and not the husband, right? Or husbands blame the side dude and not the wife, right? So now it causes cognitive dissonance because the person that I need, right, or want or desire, whatever the case may be, the person who's my sustenance that I don't want to lose because I'm dependent on them in some way, shape, form, or fashion, or feel like I'm nothing without them, or whatever the mindset would be intricately related to this. You can't be angry at the thing or person that you need or depend on, right? So that anger has to go somewhere. So it's now externalized on, or, and this is a term that we would use in therapy, which happens a lot in families with the black sheep child, triangulate. So now we blame you. You are the reason why we have a problem, right? So it's the fact that the partnership was already broken, right? It was destabilized before the person got here. But because it creates cognitive dissonance to blame the thing that you're trying to protect, you have to externalize that energy and blame something else for why things are off kilter, even though they were already off kilter. So you triangulate someone else. So now all of these negative traits will be projected onto this person. So now it's their fault. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have this problem. But that is the delusion, because that's not true. The problem was there prior to the person. So kind of like how I always say, like paying attention to your emotions and things of the sort, because they're symptoms of a deeper problem. It's not just looking at the fact like, oh, I'm sad, right? Sadness is the symptom of something deeper. We need to get to the root of what it is that's actually going on. And the root of what's actually going on here is the fact that this partnership was already off balance and off kilter and not fruitful, right? Now it's just manifesting externally. So the dis-ease or the, disunion, so to speak, the imbalance is now manifesting externally in the form of a affair, hypothetically speaking, because I'm not saying that's literally what's going on here. But the other way that I would see that in form would be the reverse. But, and I mean, in a single person sense, it would in essence be blaming another person for one's problems. You know what I mean? It like a victim mentality, to be quite honest. It's, I'm not successful, or I don't have this, I don't have that, or things aren't panning out, or things aren't working in my favor. And giving up, so to speak, or feeling bad about yourself, or whatever the case may be, because of XYZ. So it's still not taking personal accountability and responsibility for the state of one's life, because where all of us stand presently today in all of our lives is simply the byproduct of a collection of choices that we made or did not make, right? So more or less, and this is me kind of getting kind of deep with it, and I don't know, water signs, I mean, y'all are water signs, maybe that's the reason why y'all reading like this, I don't know, but it's me getting kind of deep with it. But I mean, just speaking in a basic sense, that's kind of hard for a person to accept. It's hard to, it takes a lot of growth and healing and emotional maturity to come to a place where you can have fucked up, and to be able to look yourself in the face and say, I really fucked that up. Like, I fucked this up big time, and I gotta own that shit. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot to come to that place. And until we come to that place, we will continue to make other people the reason why things are the way that they are. But it's just in this particular situation that I'm seeing, it's more or less a person blaming someone outside of the unit or the partnership for their peril, misery, and woe. You know what I mean? Because it's the thought of still, and this is an interesting theme. I haven't really sat with this enough to be able to manifest what it is, but this is kind of, it's an energy that's kind of running underneath readings. And I kind of saw it in Aquarius, but you know, it's kind of like being in this state where it's like, you know, like trying to justify it in the sense of you know, like with the side chick thing, it's like saying like, you know, well, why are they out here messing with people's husbands? And it's like, because that's the program that they're on and that's what they do. You know what I'm saying? The same reason why, you know, cows moo and zebras, no one knows what a zebra does. What sound does a zebra make? Comment below. Moving right along. But it's the same reason why cows moo and ducks quack. You know, everybody's doing what they're doing. So a side chick is going to be a side chick. And if there isn't a husband that's available, you know what I'm saying? Then off goes side chicks. You feel what I'm saying? But the thing is that it's not taking personal responsibility, and then it's taking the personal responsibility away from the partner. But yet, like I said, I get it, because cognitive dissonance. You can't blame the same thing that you're trying to protect. So someone else has to take the blame. You know what I mean? So, but you know, it's just kind of perpetuating the same state one is in to their partner, and it prevents them from being personally accountable for their choices, and opens up, you know, the floor for that to happen again, because it's in essence condoning the behavior, because there's no consequence for the behavior. It's no incentive to not participate in that again, because there are no consequences, if that makes sense. So it's a sense of enabling. So it's almost like a self-perpetuating disempowerment. It's one who feels disempowered and yet again reorchestrates the grounds or the situation in which a person continues to be disempowered. You know what I mean? And until one chooses to break that cycle, it would continue, you know? But it would require one taking personal responsibility and then, you know, holding another person accountable. Because especially as adults, and this is something that I drive home a lot. It's like, as adults, as human beings, it's imperative that we understand how important choice is, in understanding that in every moment, every second of every minute of every day of your life, you always have a choice, even if it's down to something as simple as what you think. You even have a choice in how you choose to respond to what is happening, right? So a woman, I don't care how, you know, well endowed she is, or a dude, and how, like, you know, how much of a hot piece of man meat he is. Another person can't make you do anything. You know, a person can make an offer to you, you know, and I'm not even saying this because I got to go by, when I hear stuff like that, it's like, oh, that's a heads up. So I'm not speaking in a sense of like someone forcing themselves on you. So like under the umbrella of like rape and things like that. I'm not speaking of anything in reference to that. But I'm saying in the sense of two consenting adults, right? If somebody offers their poon or their peen to someone, it doesn't matter how, you know, alluring they are. At the end of the day, this person has a choice, right? With every choice that you make a statement to the universe of who it is that you really are. Your choices are what define you, because you made them. It's a form of creation. It's how you bring what's within without. So in some level or another, every time we find ourselves at a crossroads, the decisions that we make are further paving the way of the statement that we want to make to the universe of ourselves, right? But many people aren't aware of that. Many people aren't conscious of that. And that's why I always drive that home, to empower people to know that you always have a choice in everything that you do, right? How you respond, how you react, how you think about it, how you perceive it, what you're going to take away from it, what you're not, and so on and so forth. And the moment that you get that power back, you start the journey of fully re-empowering yourself and being able to stand in the truth of what the strength card would symbolize. Don't know where that rant came from, but hey, we're going with it. So the first card for your person of interest is the Two of Wands in the reverse. A lack thereof of planning and strategy. Next card out, we have the Eight of Chalices. So more or less what I'm seeing with this is, with this person, it's a little self-sabotatory. You know? It's like, this would be someone who goes with the move, goes with the wave, and just kind of follows vibes and goes with what feels right in the moment, but doesn't quite think about the consequences of their actions, how they would pan out, how this would affect things. They don't really consider that, you know. It's like they just kind of go with it. Yeah, they just kind of go with it. They like, this would be some, I guess you would say emotions. I mean, it's a marriage of emotions and desires, you know? It's, but if I were to put it in a container, I would say it would be a person who lacks self-control, you know? Because we all have emotions, we all have feelings, we all have desires, right? But logic is what weighs out how we act on things. And it's like with this person, the vibe I'm getting from this is like they're just reacting and not thinking. And of course, I mean, that's a very immature way of being, because I mean, if we think about, you know, pre-pubescent young people, you know, we think about teenagers, you know what I mean? We think about teenagers, and that would be typical behavior, but it's like the vibe I'm getting from this is like a teenager, and I know we're not talking about teenagers. You know, we're talking about an adult. So it's more or less a person who's responding to life like a young person, but they're an adult, you know? And the thing I feel with this person, then we got the Queen of Swords. The thing I feel with this person is they dropped the ball, right? So for some of you, this could be a past person that's coming back, or somebody that you're trying to reconcile with, you know, and things kind of went awry with them before, and they're coming back around. And you have to be conscious of that, because where I could see where this whole scenario would come in with blaming the other person. Wow. Okay. And another way that I would see this, y'all, this is ironic. I mean, it's not really ironic. I mean, it's ironic to me that I'm seeing it, but it's kind of like if you think about, like a twin flame relationship, and it's like, and this would be like the karmic, like I said, karmic-y. I usually mean that descriptively, but I mean literally. If this is someone who is like in a twin flame type of deal, and there's a karmic person that you're aware of, like this would kind of be like that situation. That would be, that would fit this as well, you know? So that would be another scenario that I would add to the list. So it's kind of like if you were with this person and the opposition is more or less like the karmic partner type of deal, and the person like left, and it's more or less blaming the karmic partner for why the person left, if that's making sense. Blaming the karmic partner for why the person left, and them being the reason why you all can't be together. It's like that wouldn't be true, because that would be denying your person their ability to choose, right? So it would be removing responsibility from them.
So it's more or less, and I, just like I was saying with the whole cognitive dissonance type of thing, there's a need for one to accept things as they are in a very tangible sense, because it's like, this is interesting. Okay, I often talk about dark distractions, right? And dark distractions are when we're on a path towards something, right? It's like oppositional energies that will come into our path to take our mind off of what it is we need to be focused on, right? I went in detail of that a few months ago. 9 times out of 10, it's probably going to be in a Libra reading, since Libra seems to be the messenger of my channel. But the thing that I'm seeing here is like how I talked about this insecurity and like a level of codependency on the other person. It's like Spirit is trying to work in this situation to show you that. But as long as you allow yourself to triangulate and blame the other person, like the karmic person, for keeping this person under, some sort of oppressive, submissive type of state, as if they don't have the continence or the ability as an adult, and this is male or female, whether, go with it, but as if they don't have the power and the continence to make their choices, you disempower yourself as well as the person, enable and perpetuate that cycle to continue. So as long as the karmic partner person is the problem and the blame, and they're the reason why things aren't working out, then you're right. If you understand what I'm saying. As long as you believe that that's the truth of this situation, you're absolutely correct. It's like the quote that says, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. As a creator, you're absolutely correct. So as long as you're dialed into that mindset and that belief system, that the thing that's keeping the two of you apart is another person, you disempower your partner, and you empower the other person. So in essence, you're giving them far more dominion than I think any human being would deserve, right? Because that says that this person is that powerful. You know what I mean? But it removes your power as well as the person's. So the true liberation in this situation is found in oneself being accountable and holding the other person accountable, right? The individual being accountable for their choices, for what it is that they're feeling, accepting the situation for what it is, and accepting that, all of us make choices and we're responsible for the consequences of our choices. And that just being, base level, holding this person accountable for the choices that they're making, right? It's more or less like Spirit is showing you to set a boundary. And this isn't saying that you shouldn't love this person or you shouldn't be with them, right? It's just the fact that the way that you all have been relating to each other has not been in service to you or to them. And Spirit is giving you an anecdote, in so many words, on how you can get what it is that you want. This is fascinating. I'm here for this. Spirit is giving you an anecdote on how it is that you get what it is that you want, because the methods that you've utilized up to this point have not worked, right? And something becomes maladaptive and dysfunctional when the method that we use, it leads us to an end goal, an end point, right? There's a purpose for it. But If one's behavior has not been warranting the results that you desire, then it's time to change the method. So you think about that in science, like with a hypothesis, you know, if it's not, your hypothesis is not supported in the end, then you kind of want to go back to the drawing board and reconfigure some things. So in so many words, Spirit is attempting to offer you a solution, right? But it's going to require you, and this is so funny because I said this in my book, and no offense, because, you know, it's tongue-in-cheek. The name of my book is Motherfuck Twinflames, but it's not really saying Motherfuck Twinflames. You have to read the book to understand why. There's a whole chapter on why I named it that. But anywho, but I said in the book, the word repentance, right? But one needs to understand what the word repentance truly means. Repentance means a change of behavior. It means I was going this way and I see this way is not working, right? So it's like I recalibrate by changing paths, applying different methods, if that's making sense. So that's more or less what is being shown. And again, you have a choice on if you want to do it or not. But it's like the way that this was done prior to this, it wasn't working. But the thing is that in order to get what it is that you want, you have to repent or change direction from the method you were using before so that you can see this truth that's hiding in plain sight that I'm looking at right here, right? And set a boundary, because the thought is open door policy is what is saving this, but it's actually what's killing it, right? Because not holding this person accountable is allowing them, because there's no incentive to change. You're allowing them to perpetuate the same behavior over and over and over again, right? And because there's no buffer, there's no need to change behavior, right? So if you set the boundary, it's setting a boundary not to do something to them or to hurt them or to harm them or to even make them, and that's what came up in Aquarius's reading. It's not even setting a boundary with the intention of the person bowing down and conforming to what it is, and that was in Aquarius's extended, to make the person bow down and conform to what you think another person should or should not want. Because that's not how this goes either. Because in the bigger scheme of things, who are we to say that what we feel is right for another person, right? Because that's like, it's a sense of selfishness there, right? But what would be in a person's best interest is if there's a boundary there, it more or less cultivates the healing space for behavior to change. Otherwise, you're just enabling. You're enabling a pattern of behavior that is not in service to you or to the other person. That's when we call relationships toxic, right? Like toxic relationships are not this whole spooky thing. A toxic relationship is literally a relationship where, and I get all into this in the book, but it's a relationship that's not in service to either person. It's perpetuating the wounds, but it's not healing them. It's just giving them more or less a stage to act out on, right? But in order for healing to occur, change must first occur. And it's more or less, Spirit is seeing more or less, because I mean, clearly this person over here is a whole lot a little immature. I'm just saying. But since you got some sense, you know what I'm saying? You got some sense in your head. It's like Spirit is giving you an opportunity to stand now as a testament of what maturity looks like. You understand? So you standing in your power, now you're reflecting something different, right? So now this offers the person a choice that they can make of their own free will, because now you're behaving different. So now they have to choose whether or not they're going to choose in support of your change or in opposition to it, right? And that's more or less, if you ever wanted to know how to let go, release, or surrender, that's what that is, right? It's standing in your power, standing firmly rooted and planted on your truth as a beacon of light to your truth, right? Not wavering from that and allowing everything that comes into your path to either confirm your truth or deny it. But it's their choice. And you have, no horse in that race. It's totally up to them. Because at the end of the day, you're standing for your truth. And that's all that really matters, But yeah. So that's what I see with that. That was rather interesting, Cancer and Scorpio. And my energy doesn't even feel drained. Thank you, water signs. You know what I'm saying? It's nice. You can go ahead and ask a yes or no question if you like. I dig it. I'm about that life. The answer to your question is no. We have Aquarius. I'm just saying. If you's in Wakanda, if you's a Wakanda member, you know what I'm saying? Y'all might want to binge watch some extendeds because the T is in Aquarius. I'm just saying. Okay. Then we have Leo. Then we have Rising. And we have Bay Lover Partner. So the answer to your question is no. Rising, Leo, Aquarius, and Bay Lover Partner. That's fascinating. And over on Vimeo, where are my initial cards? Over on Vimeo, we're going to look at the signs individually. We're looking at Cancer individually and Scorpio individually. And we're also going to look at how your person thinks and feels about you and what's not, or whatever. But that's fascinating. How many minutes we at? 35. We have C as in Charlie. We have V as in Victor. And we have H as in Henry. I did some personal readings earlier and I completely reconfigured my desk and I'm like, where is everything? All right, let me throw some zodiac cards out and I'm gonna let you guys go. I like this. I like how these water sign vibes feel. I'm digging this. I'm here for this, water signs. Specifically Cancer and Scorpio. I'm just saying and whatnot or whatever. Whoop. We got Scorpio in the building. Can we get one more, Spirit? Aha! And we have Leo. Well, okay. Third time's the charm. One more. I live on the wild side. Gemini. Ooh, child. Okay. Well, that is your reading, Cancer and Scorpio. It has been a pleasure. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you're about that extended life, follow me over to Vimeo. If not, I still love your freaking face. And I will see you guys sooner than later. Deuces.